Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Game 2 of our first day here at DreamHack Zowie Open. Can the Brazilians replicate their brother's result? Quick one for Luminosity, and now it is Tempo's turn to step up to the plate versus NRG. It's going to be a pretty tough battle in a best of one, and of course I have got a group of merry men and women to talk about this one. We have a new face. It's my pleasure to introduce for her desk debut. It is Miss Harvey. How are you doing? You feeling good?
Yes.
How are the shakes? Are we okay?
It's not so bad. It's not so bad because I can't see anything, so it's like I'm at home, you know?
But this is where the crowd makes a load of noise and all of a sudden your hands start shaking. That's how it works. Yeah, but I mean, how are you doing coming into what should propose to be something that you can really shed some light on, North American CS? I'm sure you're a veteran.
This is awesome. Of course, we wish we had more international team here today, but this is where the battle of NA is happening, I think, and we haven't had an NA LAN in so long that I feel was at this high of a level, this high of a caliber, so this is going to be very fun.
And I've been loving the BYOC as well. I mean, it's something I wanted to address beforehand, but it's been so long since I've actually turned up to a BYOC LAN, just seeing loads of dudes plugging in their monitors and getting ready. Have you? When was the last BYOC you went? You actually played in? I mean, come on, it must have happened, right?
Back when I was in college.
2004.
I did one 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you win that competition. I think mine was like an iSeries somewhere a long time ago. I'm pretty sure I was under 18, so that was a while ago. Anyway, LANs aside, we've got a game to talk about. It is going to be Tempo NRG. So let's kind of set the scene with this one. This is much less of a one-sided affair, of course, than LG Splice. So I'll start with you, Steph. Tempo NRG, what's your main point to hit coming into this one? What's the determining factor?
I think the determining factor is really going to be towards NRG if Peter is going to be on or not. Right now, this is going to be the first event he attends on LAN with this current lineup, with this team at all. So this is going to be a major factor. Also, all their terrorist strats revolves around him being successful at the moment. So we know Peter is a really emotional player. He's really intense. He talks to himself a lot on LAN, so we'll see how he can do the duel versus N1.
Talks to himself a lot. I just have the image of him like looking in the mirror like, you can do this, Peter. You can do this.
If the camera goes on him,
you're a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry.
It's right when he gets out of the shower, he's just in the towel and he's just hyping himself up.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's important to be always positive, but we'll see how far it will lead him. Especially if he loses a couple of duel versus N1 right at the beginning, is he going to be able to come back into the game? That's really interesting to see.
I mean, let's just stick on Peter for a second, gents, because it's actually, you made a fantastic point there. It's been, you said 8 months or something?
Yes, he hasn't played on LAN since Winter Fox at their 2 majors ago qualifier, so that's a long time ago. And before that, it was with CLG, and I think that's when he has the most success, because on Winter Fox, it was pretty mild. So it's a big challenge for him, and I think it's going to revolve a lot around this. Because Tempo Storm is there. They're ready.
He also really wasn't like in the North American pro scene for a while too. At least like the pro league in itself.
Yes.
He was floating around Premier after he had been removed from the Winter Fox roster. He was on a couple fairly high level Premier teams, but he didn't actually come back to the actual pro scene until he joined up with NRG at the end of this last sort of shuffle at the end of last season.
Yeah, and they also, I mean, the cool thing, this event for me, for NRG, is going to be just a cool barometer, like a test of where they're at, because we just saw them at the Counterpit LAN where they beat Envy. And at the time, they were like, that was historic. That was a historic upset. And I think some of that excitement and some of that hype around that win has kind of slowly eroded just because of the level that Envious has been at since then. It's almost in our minds, we're just kind of like, it's not that impressive anymore, because Envy is just, they've been in the doldrums recently. So this is going to be cool to see in terms of just North America where they can rank at.
And Peter wasn't playing there.
Yeah, it was Tapson.
So.
But then Tapson went nuts, so
exactly. So
talk about that.
Can Peter reproduce Tapson?
I do want to address Bolts there just while he's still on screen.
Yes.
A player that recently has been catching everyone's attention. When he departed from Luminosity or whatever the flag they were under then, I believe it was maybe Keyed Stars. Before they made that move. But yeah, just the loss of Bolts, and then all of a sudden he's kind of this rebirth and growth from Bolts, Jason. This is unprecedented, really. Yeah,
and it's kind of, I mean, it just speaks to, it's the kind of leader that Fallen is, the kind of Counter-Strike that he likes to play, the kind of team he likes to have is players, they can hit that cap in a certain situation, but when you put them in a role that they're maybe more comfortable in, players that they maybe learn how to play with a little bit better than the ones they have, they can excel in a completely different fashion. That's what we kind of see out of Bolts, where he went down to this, second best team in Brazil, and he's expected to be the playmaker. He's expected to have much more of an impact than he did in Luminosity, and he's rising to the occasion time and time again.
And across the other roster there, you can see Legia. Oh, I'm going to butcher this. Is it Legia or Legia? I did just ask.
I think it's Legia.
Okay, we'll go with Legia.
That's what we always say.
Okay. Legia, it's there. It's locked in, and if he hates us after it, then we're in trouble. But
I've never been yelled at.
I mean, we do need to talk about this these 2 European presences in NRG. This is not something we have a lot of instances of, Blue. I mean, how's it been looking for you since Gobby and Legia arrived?
Honestly, I was like,
damn.
Well done.
Legia arrived. Okay, go.
I was really surprised with just how well this team did, because it was such a strange combination, because the team that this roster formed from, that had both Silent and Justin on it previously, was like the second to last place team in the ESL Pro League for Season 2 before they joined up here for Season 3, and that's where we really first saw them playing. And like, I was thinking, like, this is such a weird combination. How is this ever going to work? Especially since you're bringing GOP into the picture, and he has this very, like, drill sergeant style of leading his team and whatnot. Like, is this, are the North American players really going to be able to tolerate this? And it's actually been surprising. They've been doing fantastically well. Both Silent and Justin, who are the two biggest question marks with this roster, have stepped up their own performances immensely. Specifically Justin has been the big
Justin
one.
Is doing great right
like
now.
on LAN too. I think at that one where they upset Envy, it was Tabson and him were the two major key factors that allowed them to take that upset.
Top fragger.
Yeah, so I mean, Justin, was it kind of a little bit of a question mark for quite recently? Is this a very recent rise to power for Justin?
No, he's always been a top fragger on every team that he has been on. But what the question was, can he do it at a higher level?
Sure.
So right now he's done it a few times. Can he continue doing this? And can he carry NRG all the way through a win versus the current champion of SIVO?
That was just a week ago. Exactly, actually. Yeah, just last week. They all blend
welcome
together.
to CS.
They all blend together. But actually, for me, it is that they've kind of hit that next level. But it's because, we always highlight this. There's just such a lack of leadership in North America that you bring Gabi, who's very well respected internationally as an in-game leader, and he comes over and all of a sudden he institutes this kind of system and this practice schedule and this regimen and this leadership that he brings in that these players have never had before.
Yeah,
and
he's
all
definitely
of a sudden,
the brain of that team.
Yeah, and now you just see him kind of stepping up, not only as a team but individually as well. And it's just being involved in that system, having a very clear-cut plan of what everyone's going to be doing, and whatever else Gabi is bringing to that is allowing these players to feel much, much more comfortable.
Can we come back to that discussion of respect, right? If you've got someone, like you said, a respected in-game leader like Godby, he arrives and is given this clean slate of NRG. I think this is where some of that success could have come from. Godby arrives and everyone goes, damn, this guy knows what he's saying. Let's we hold on to these calls. We trust what he has to say.
Yeah.
And they've grown from that. But we have to start talking about this kind of probability, right? This is surely still favoring the Brazilians by quite a considerable margin.
I think so too, but I think the game plan for NRG is they want to go on a train matchup. I don't know if the veto were done yet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to try to hit on train, and NRG is ready for that matchup. I don't know if Tempo Storm is ready, but we'll see.
Yeah, they didn't tell me what map they wanted, but I know talking to Silent just earlier this morning. I mean, he just flat out said we're gonna win the map veto process. We're gonna get what we want. He's like, we already veto their best 3 maps. That's what we're planning. Like, we already like to veto those. And I was like, all right, because that's what's crazy is we just saw Tempo Storm beat Virtus Pro in a best of 5, and that just, I mean, when you do that, that basically just says you have a very deep map pool. So for NRG to come in and say we're going to win the veto process, that's pretty crazy to think about. Not sure how I feel about it.
You disagreeing with his statement then?
I just think it's going to be a tall task.
My biggest doubt for NRG over the course of this is going to be their pistol rounds. Specifically, it's gotten better within the past 2 weeks, and I actually was talking about Silent with this as well before we got started. They said that they've improved it over the past 2 weeks, but they have lost games purely because they haven't taken pistol round victories over the past 3 or 4 months now. It's been their biggest weak point, and they've lost so many games because of it, where they come so close. I think they've had a couple Liquid games where they go like 14-16 against them. It's so close to taking a victory, but not ending up getting it because they win every single gun round, but they just can't take control of the pistol round. And because of that, their opponents will get like 6 or 7 free rounds.
Have we ever breached that discussion, talking about what you need to do, what are the ingredients to be good at pistol rounds? Because there are teams that are constantly successful in pistol rounds. They have like these ridiculous statistics. How do you comprehend what makes a good pistol, a team that's competent at pistol rounds? Is it just down to communication? How does it differ from a buy round? Surely there's not too many dissimilar similarities. That's
for me, it's really based on how your team works and what works for you. Yeah. Some teams work random, they just call on the fly. Others are really precise pistol rounds where a lot of communication is required, and some just fail. It's a different weapon, so
actually, it's pretty. I know a lot of pro players and pro teams consider pistol rounds and even analysts to be relatively random affairs. I know there's actually been some people having discussions. I'm not sure how wide out in the open is it, but who are talking about maybe the potential idea of eliminating pistol rounds completely and just having matches start with $10,000 and just say, why would do the pistol rounds? They're so random. You can shatter your economy for an entire half. They're hard to recover from. It's not really bringing anything because of the random element that they have. But really, I mean, it's just kind of understanding the strengths of the pistols, right? Because you don't have a lot of utility. So when you have these Glocks, you want to swarm on people. You want to be able to move forward. You have high mobility. The CT pistol is good at long range. You want to have some of those duels that you can go for one of those nice headshots before the Glocks get close enough.
So, I mean, yeah, let's stick with random then. That's why we haven't breached that subject, it seems, because it's completely random, and NRG just seem to randomly lose all of their pistol rounds and have trouble with that.
Yeah.
Top analysis, as always, here. We are in sunny Austin. We haven't quite got the...
We made it sound smart, though.
It did. You smashed that, and I think it's the glasses that gives you that extra smart vibe. I'm liking the new edition.
Oh, so I have that too.
Oh, actually, you're right.
Ooh.
Yeah, me and Blue need to step up. We need to head to the opticians, hook ourselves up.
You guys look like idiots.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it might have something to do with our cute little badges right now. Much love. What was that?
Well, we have like
Okay, I like it.
less.
That was some Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner type
That was
stuff.
brilliant. I like that. So
We're in a cartoon
you're basically
now.
a beatboxer as well now, Steph. But I was just trying to say that Jason has invested into props. Can we give him some love? Because these are all down to... Was it you and Robin that went shopping?
Me and Yanko.
Me and Yanko, okay. Oh,
It's
there
really-
it is.
It's how we keep our
We
sanity.
still
yeah,
haven't
you're
we
ready.
still haven't worked out what you're going to put in that. I mean, we
It's
just
gonna
need
be a
to...
long day, Alex.
It's going to be a long day. I just don't, like, who is in their right mind actually buying that? Like, that is exclusively for
Well, apparently
desk
me.
props. Yeah.
Apparently me.
Jason is, and here we go. We've got the veto underway. Steph, can you just remind us what because you said you had a pretty good grasp of where you feel this veto is going to
Yeah,
go. Can you maybe walk us through it?
I really think it's going to come down to Train or Dust to Indian.
Okay. No cobble then.
I don't think it's going to be Cobble. I don't think it's going to be Overpass at all. Tempo Storm just despises that map. They have actually only played it in the ESEA ESL Pro League, and they lost both matches this season. So it's really not a good matchup for them.
That's actually what NRG, what Silent was saying earlier. He was just like, the only way that they can catch us off guard in this veto process is if just out of nowhere they want to play Overpass. He's like, that's the one thing that can catch us off guard in this. And it's usually a ban out of them, so maybe playing a little bit of chicken here, just seeing if NRG is going to just ban that out because they haven't prepared for it against Tempo Storm.
Tempo is keeping maybe Overpass for the last veto right now because they know
Yeah.
maybe NRG knows they're going to veto
Well,
it.
I think that they've got to be like trying to bluff it and just get NRG a little bit nervous
And
about
NRG
it.
isn't that great also on their Overpass, so maybe they're they're banning it. They're not taking any chance.
That's so cool from Tempo Storm because that bluff actually works. So now Tempo Storm, they get to pick their map. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's either going to be Cash or Train, and I think, let me see right here, NRG on Cash is actually pretty decent. So it's not that bad of a matchup for them too.
I would say send it to Train, personally.
I think it's going to be Train.
There's a lot of room for inconsistencies on the side of NRG there.
Oh,
Dead
they banned
wrong.
Train. They probably knew NRG.
If you had glasses on,
Wanted
you would have got
Train.
that right.
I'm pretty sure when we were looking at it, there was like something crazy, like an 80% win rate for NRG on cash. Have they just got?
Yes.
You said they were going to win their.
I mean,
Yes,
you're-
NRG
it's-
has a good percentage of win this season.
For all
on
intents and
Cash.
purposes, NRG is still a North American team, and that's like a North American home map right
Yep.
there. Like every team's good on cash for the most part in North America. So it's not a bad thing to send any North American team to that map.
Yeah, were you pulling funny faces there for a reason? You disagree with that
I
statement?
mean, it's always, you got to always make that amendment, right? Where they're good on cash against other North American
Sure.
teams.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Also,
I mean,
this is a matchup that never happened. NRG never played Tempo Storm this season at all, and Tempo was away for so many times in Europe. So I don't know if they know actually how to play each other that much.
well, that's kind of the interesting thing as well, because Tempo Storm isn't in like leagues like Pro League or anything like that. You know, this is a team that you could actually say is better than most of the North American teams that are in the professional leagues at the moment. This is like the one team on the outside looking in where you're just like, these guys would actually be competing for like a second seed in Pro League right now. They could be actually up there. So yeah, this is going to be, I think, no matter what map it was going to be on, it's going to be tough for NRG. I think they're definitely, Tempo Storm is definitely the favorites, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can really say too much because Tempo Storm just doesn't compete in these top leagues while they practice against them. This is just a team we're still having trouble placing in the North American context because they're not playing in the professional leagues.
Also, they change roles all the time.
Yeah.
The past months, Tempo Storms really turn around every player and every role they had to do. And right now, I think they're going to stick to what happened at CEVO because it went so well.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
we brought up their CEVO success as well. You need to put it into context that there wasn't, all tier 1 teams present. It's still a huge victory for them and
Yes.
the first of its kind for them. But I mean, yeah, best of 5 versus VP Tempo. That's not something you would have expected from NRG. I mean, their biggest success, as we've already addressed, was Envy over at Counterpit. So what I want to go back in towards the individuals, as it does look like we've got some time to talk. I want to talk quickly back to that Peter discussion because I can't see a world where Peter is taking constant and successful duels versus Hen 1.
Yes.
Like but bearing in mind, I've seen a lot more of Henny
Very
than I
similar
haven't.
style operas, though. I mean,
Okay.
they're very much not the fundamental operas. They like to get their flashy styles. They take those shots where it looks awesome when they land them. If they're having an off game, it really can hurt their positioning because they're sacrificing a lot to kind of go for those flashy plays. Very very quick when they're feeling it. I mean, Henny's very fast in terms of his like scoping and shooting, but not the highest percentage. So I mean, they're very very similar styles.
They're
Clash
very
Music Duel.
similar. And the thing is, in the duel, I think if N1 starts to fail, I think he can still come back. I think it doesn't matter for the Brazilian at this point. They can always come back. You can never count them out. While as for NA and especially NRG, I don't think it's the same.
That's the tilt master himself, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with Peter too, is that like with N1, like he's just going to bust out the zopping style on command, regardless of what the current status of the game is. With Peter though, I feel like Peter almost needs something driving him behind it. If the team's doing bad, then I feel like he's going to do bad as an extension of that. Whereas okay, they get themselves started off, they go like 6-0 to start off the map there, then okay, he's going to be doing fine because now he's confident.
I mean, he mentioned just the other night talking to him as well that his biggest struggle within this team and what he's been working on most is figuring out when he has the option to make some kind of a play, like when finding out where he is on the map in relation to his team and kind of choosing whether he can make a play in that spot or whether he has to play a little bit more passive and let his teammates do it. And he's kind of struggling with that mental aspect of the game. And it is very much a mental struggle with him. He brings that up freely. He knows that his biggest problem is himself at the moment. So it will be interesting to see where he goes.
I mean, we haven't addressed the fact that he's no longer in any sort of leadership role. He has got B kind of keeping that done for him, and that must take a whole lot of weight off his shoulders. His only task now is to focus on his plays with the AWP and the rifle.
It's like
we'll see that.
It's been odd actually, considering like when he first joins this team, he was fantastic. Like almost all of his games were flawless. Like his ratings were off the charts as far as when he first jumped onto this roster. But it's sort of cooled off a little bit since then. So when he comes to these events, and especially as you mentioned there, this is the first event, the first LAN event that he's come to in such a long time. Now it's like, okay, now how's he going to do here since he's cooled off a bit online, and we have no clue how he's going to perform on LAN.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see if Bolt and Phelps can reproduce their Civil performance, because they were literally unbeatable. And if you look at that team's performance, actually Showtime really struggled a little bit, but we didn't see it at all because the team was so successful. We didn't see it at all, but he's actually probably at the bottom of the Stevo stats. So was it a fluke for Showtime, or were his teammates doing so great that he didn't need to do anything? Who cares about his stats, you know?
So so many kills to go around. Only so many kills.
Yeah, exactly. If your teammates are killing 5, it doesn't matter if you kill 0, you know?
Yeah.
That's good. That's actually a testament to Tempo Storm. If you have a player underperforming and proceed to win a tournament, imagine if all 5 of you are on. Maybe you know.
Well, there's another Brazilian team that had that same issue. And when you think about Taco, I mean, there was a lot of talk about him being the player who's consistently underperforming on this Luminosity squad. And then it was at Katowice where he just exploded and was a monster at that event. Yeah. They got second place there, but that confidence that he gained from that one event alone, moving forward, he's still a very dangerous player now. And now they just have a very deep roster once he starts, to kind of he has those games where he can take over. And that's kind of all you need out of certain players. If Bolt and Phelps, like you said, if they're going to keep reproducing, if they're going to keep playing at this level, Showtime doesn't have to have this fantastic statistical impact. He can just have his one game here or there. But they are, and I mean, also, if he can have a little bit of a struggle event at Stevo and still be able to beat VP in like a best 5, still take the championship, you come over here, then he can definitely struggle a little bit, and they can still get through some North American
meat
weaklings.
Dude, meat. I have eaten so much meat already in Texas. Since I landed, I think I've eaten more meat in the last 2 days than I have in like a month. And I'm only saying that because one of the teams has disappeared, and that's why now we're going to talk about meat for a bit. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
You like meat, Alex?
I do. I love meat. There you go. That's a soundbite for you. I had a delicious.
Context,
what was
course.
it? What did I have? It was a brisket. Nice, good brisket. Yeah. Hadn't had a delicious brisket before.
There's ribs.
That's right, ribs. Yeah, I ate some unbelievable amounts of meat, and my body is punishing me for it now, in case anyone was wondering. Yeah. Have you had any barbecue since you've been in Texas?
I have had Brazilian barbecue.
Yeah.
You guys all had
we were all there.
Brazilian?
This is what I'm
amazing.
talking about. I've forgotten how much meat I've actually consumed. There you go. That's the end of our conversation. Oh, we found them. NRG are back in the building. Okay.
There you go.
They were having a team huddle somewhere else. I do want to address as well the awesome crowd here in Austin. They like one game in. It's pretty. To me, it's pretty early. Look at there you are. Look at that. They were making so much noise. Every frag that Slice got, they were making a roar, which was nice.
Well, we saw this NA crowd at the major. Like we know NA can just show up and just be beasts in the crowd. It's one of those areas where we do excel at.
Yep.
Any crowd.
They may not necessarily succeed all the time in game, but in crowds.
They do still have to compete a little bit with Columbus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have to
to
prove
be
they
fair,
had a better crowd.
I mean, come on now. That's not,
It's not fair.
that's a bit rough.
Numbers do not win a battle, Moses.
Okay.
Okay. Just one dude standing by the microphone making all the
I
noise.
beg to differ.
Well, I mean, crowd aside, it does look like we're actually going to be getting ready for this one. And so let's move towards predictions a little slower than normal because we have the opportunity to actually kind of justify our answers a little more. And I think this is a little bit more 50-50. Are you going to roll the dice and take a risk with the North Americans? Talk to me.
Uh-oh.
No, I think Tempo Storm is going to win.
Okay.
My prediction is, I think I'm generous maybe a little bit. I think it's going to be 16-11 or something like that. I think NRG can get a couple of rounds, and Tempo Storm maybe have a little bit of jitters first game in, So I don't think they're going to completely dominate like Splice LG was. But I still think in the end, Tempo Storm right now they're at the top of their game, probably practiced or prepared to play NRG.
Sure.
So yeah.
Still an unknown though. They haven't met before, and I think that's
No,
a
they
lovely. I
haven't.
love that this kind of discussion that this is a complete unknown for both of these teams. I mean, they've watched them, but they've never encountered them themselves. Jason.
Yeah, I've got to take Temple Storm as well. I think actually, I think there is definitely a possibility that NRG can take this. I'm not writing them off the way that we did for Splice, but you know, this is the one thing that I like that NRG has going for them is I'm a big fan of God B coming in and helping these players get a little more talented. And that's the thing when you think about a map like Cash that they're going to be playing on, that mid control, you need to be able to control it when you have a leader like this who can come to these talented, inexperienced players in North America and say, we're going to create this system to take mid control. If they have a system like that to take or defend against that, that's going to be a huge, huge bonus for them. That's going to be something they can rely on if they can consistently hold that. Now, Tempo Storm, the Brazilians, very well known for that kind of play as well. So it is going to be a little bit of a battle, but there are some opportunities here. There's very good improved play out of NRG, so they have a chance here.
I'm actually feeling it. I think NRG is going to take this one. I think it's going to be an extremely
Sweet
close battle.
Jesus, he's done it.
There's an energy fan at the front.
There's the one.
But yeah, I actually think NRG is might be. It's like I said, it's extremely close. Definitely still a very large chance that we could actually see the guys from Tempo Storm taking it. But I think here in the edge, we've been seeing a lot of slow but steady improvements coming out from the side of NRG, and I think that may end up allowing them to take the match here against what is an unknown opponent against Tempo Storm, and that could actually be the edge there too. Is that Tempo Storm, they do rely a lot on past experiences in order to give them that edge in the matchups here, and they may not have that. They're not going to have that at all against NRG. They haven't played them before whatsoever.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on Peter, I think. Actually, I think
You're
Peter
a
is
believer.
I think he's the crucial point. If he doesn't show up, can the rest of the team pick it up?
I mean, surely
think so.
inconsistency is going to be a word we use for a lot of the members of NRG. I think you touched on already. Silent and Justin had relatively good events. I think Silent had some incredible games and some awful games. I think last time we saw him on stage.
He actually thinks himself, Silent, that he's the most inconsistent player on the team. He's been really hard on himself, but I don't agree with that. But yeah, they have inconsistency issues.
The mental game.
Yep.
It is all in their heads. I mean, consistency, that is entirely your mental kind of fortitude, right, Jason? That's all in your head.
Yeah, I mean, it is to a certain degree. You need to have some actual results to build some confidence to overcome it. So it can't be entirely in your head because you actually have to do it. You actually have to go out and actually get over that hump by winning. I just think Bolts and Phelps are gonna
Bolts is
run a
like
train here.
Bolts is on fire right now. Not only is he leading with the help of Peacemaker, the coach, and he's also in-game performing like.
I mean, the thing that needs to be addressed with Bolts is just how just while we're on the topic of mental fortitude, to be kicked out of a team that then goes on to find immense success, and then to be able to not just be like, I mean, you were in a dark place when that happens, when you're friends and they are friends. There's no doubt about it. Just go and say, hey man, we think we need someone else in the team. We don't think you're up to scratch. And he proceeds to somehow look better. He looks rejuvenated. He's like that. I don't think a lot of human beings are capable of that.
I think in
him.
his case, I mean, we've already seen it with Luminosity about how much they push themselves to finally become those champions. I think that specifically for Bolts, it's become that same thing, but just more on a personal level. And now, okay, I want a piece of that as well, and I'm going to fight back to become just as great as my old team was on this new squad, Tempo Storm.
The personality of champions.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one thing you have to avoid, I mean, you talked, I mean, these guys, Tempo Storm, just winning SIVA LAN over in the UK, coming back straight here, now competing on the stage again. I mean, Luminosity went through that struggle where they win the major, and like we said, they go to Malmo and they just kind of drop the ball. So hopefully there's no little hangover in that kind of sense where Tempo Storm comes in maybe feeling a little bit underprepared, a little bit over-prepared as it sounded in Luminosity's case, where they were just playing too much, didn't get a chance to rest. So, I mean, there are some dangers. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Looks like the huddles are done. That means the game is going to be underway very, very shortly. I'm just going to poke you all just for the final words on this game. For you, Steph, you touched on Peter as being the defining factor. Godby at the helm. Anything else you want to add before we do jump on into game? Oh, I'm back on. Hello.
Oh, we're back. Now, Peter. Let's see if Peter can do it. If Peter can do it, this is going to be a very close game.
Okay, belief in NRG. But Jason, anything to add?
Actually, I'm very impressed with the coaches of both Brazilian teams. I think Zustin and Peacemaker are very, very smart guys when it comes to CS, and they have their teams playing very, very well. So I think that's actually a huge edge for both of these teams against any team in North America, and even comparable to the international stage.
Even NRG's coach is in here.
That's
Really,
a good point.
Zach, he stayed home, so.
just to have that sixth man, I mean, it's very, very important. Blue, just one final word from you.
Gabi's still in though, so I don't think the leadership factor is going to be suffering all that much at all. And now that it goes over to Cash, I think that makes this match even closer, and that's where I think they could gain that slight, very small edge to actually get them the victory. So it's definitely going to be a close one. It's going to be a great match.
And no, they're not ready. In case, yeah, I thought they were. I mean, they're sitting down at their computers.
You were getting ready to go in.
I was so ready. But instead of that, we're not going to talk about meat. We've done that. What we are going to talk about is this sixth man. Just explore that a little further,
the
right?
Coach?
Yeah, because
yes.
so like we talk about this a lot, and it's a discussion we'll have often on desks. But it's so to me, it's so obvious that this is where every team should have that sixth man, and the fact that NRG haven't got their coach behind them.
No, but
I didn't
Blue
realize
was right. Godby is the brain of this, right? I'm pretty sure Zach Ely is there to support and help whatever. Godby can't see any.
I feel like Ely takes more of like an analyst role on this team, where
is he crunching numbers kind of thing?
He can sort of like provide insight if it's necessary in the middle of matches.
But it always helps to have someone behind, just either like pump you up or pause. Hey, pause, guys. You know, sometimes we forgot to pause. Sometimes everything goes on so fast, and that sixth man behind changes everything. He's there to calm you. He's there to take a deep breath. It doesn't matter if you lost a few rounds. We can still come back, and that's why the Brazilians are so strong, because their coach is so involved within their emotional aspect, right? Like Zeus and Peacemaker are so involved in their team. They're not only the sixth man, they're actually
practically playing.
Yeah, they're full part of the roster.
Yeah, well, they're part of the preparation process as well. And I think the big thing as well, I mean, thinking of some of the coaches, I think it's, StarX for Navi is like a full-time in-game leader. But a lot of these coaches aren't necessarily only hype men. They're not only in-game leaders. You know, even go back towards when Devilwalk was coaching Fnatic. He said the reason that he was efficient as a coach with Pronax is because they look at the game differently, so they can bounce ideas off each other in the game. And now you're seeing Zeus is the same thing. He's not always in-game leading for Luminosity, and neither is Fallen, but they can bounce some ideas off each other. They have different perspectives to look at. And when you get bogged down, you have someone who has something else that you're not thinking of.
Oh, that's exactly what you need as well. I mean, the fact that, some people can get lost. I was talking to, who was it? The other day. Who was it? I think it was...
Too much meat slowing you down.
Too much meat. I was talking to someone... Oh, damn, that's going to annoy me. But anyway, the point he made was that sometimes an in-game leader just gets lost on a map. Like, they don't have an answer. And at that point in time, that's when...
It was Fifth Lair when we were watching Redemption.
It was Fiffy. Thank you so much.
He was mentioning a map that Exist was really struggling calling on a certain map in the major.
Thank you so much. And that was...
Because you said Fifth Lair, and you're looking very vocal in this segment. He's like, Exist was having a tough time figuring out what he wanted to do next, what he was going to call in this matchup, and that's why Fifth Lair was being much more vocal. Yeah. And a lot of teams who don't have coaches, or even the ones that do, even before coaches got popular, there's always been kind of that in-game leader and that secondary, that secondary in-game leader who's like kind of just someone to have a little bit more input to help you out.
Mid-round also sometimes is harder for some in-game leader. It's important.
Well, we are actually ready for this game, and so you're going to be hearing a lot more of Jason and Blue as they guide you through our second game here in DreamHack Austin. I do want to first remind you about the Score eSports application, right? Grab this on your phone, and you can keep track of everything that's going on in this event and more. It's got your stats as well if you want to be checking out those KDAs, because that's obviously all that matters. But anyway, go check that out while your casters are ready for this game. It is NRG versus Tempo Storm. Tempo looking to replicate what LG have done already. And now over to the guys that are about a meter away from me. It's going to be Moses and Blue.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back now to DreamHack Zowie Open. We're going into the second map here now. It's going to be between Tempo Storm and NRG. Moses, we do have conflicting opinions on this one. You're putting Tempo Storm, I'm putting NRG. Let's talk a little bit more about why you think they're going to have the edge in this matchup.
I think they're the better team. We just leave it there.
Just put it out
leave
there.
It there. I know. I just think
further clarification needed, Moses. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. As we mentioned, the coach, I like Peacemaker a lot. I think he's going to help them out. I think they're very similar to Luminosity in that fundamentally they're very smart players. In post plants. On both sides of the bomb, on T and NCT post plants, very good on retaking sites, very good at defending the bomb once it's planted. I think they're very patient as well, and these are two areas that North American teams struggle in. Sometimes as a round is going on, they don't have that patience to just kind of wait and let the play come to them. They're trying to force the issue a little bit too much at times, and fundamentally, obviously, there's North American teams just make a lot of mistakes. Now, Godby's been lessening that in this team, but I don't think they're quite ready yet to kind of take Tempo Storm out, especially after this win in Sivo. I think Tempo Storm's going to come in here with a lot of confidence.
I think that is the big twist factor, is that you do have Gabi driving this team, and it's a very forceful sort of drive that he's putting behind this squad now, really trying to put those guys in a good position. But anyway, guys, it does look like we are going live into the matchup now. The pistol round getting started. Once again, this is going to be Tempo Storm versus NRG. Very quickly, actually, we can see Gabi getting himself outside there. However, it's going to be Showtime that picks up the first kill on the Silent and starts things off in the Brazilians' favor.
Yeah, and look at this control game by Phelps here. Smoke off deep into A main, so Gabi is kind of forced. Actually, he pushes himself right through middle choke. That was not Gabi in A main. Lucas, this could catch him off guard. I doubt he clears this whatsoever, and it is just going to be a free kill. Waiting to see if he could get more, but there's one, and that might force the defense into an awkward situation. He's traded off, though, but here comes a hit out the door, but the bomb site is being held so well. Henny with 3 quick kills, and there's Phelps still in A main. That control comes in to bite.
It will be the Brazilians that take control of things now. They take the economy advantage in the first round here by winning themselves the pistols. So starting things off well, and they're going to have to start now from the back lot to get themselves into this game. We'll see what kind of buy they'll be going for. And it's not the aggressive buy. This is actually pretty much a staple for NRG too. Very, very, very save friendly here now when they lose that first pistol round.
That pistol round was a little bit rough for NRG because actually with that kill with Gabi had, it actually forces the defense of that A bomb site to kind of turn around and put their attention towards mid. If that hit comes out door maybe just a second earlier, they might be able to get that kill and storm the site a little bit easier. But this is a little bit scary for them because, you know, one of the matchups, especially Harvey highlighted and we talked a lot about, is going to be this Peter versus Henny. Oppers notoriously very much have to have confidence, you know, and if with Henny, with the pistol round that he just had, now adding a couple more kills onto it, that's going to hurt, just as I say it. It is Peter, in fact, that does it. Drops him. But if Henny's going to be able to get started early in this matchup, that could move forward and that could translate into his op play later on.
After they find that kill, another one does get taken down, so it leaves it to Peter. He'll be caught off guard as well by a player from Z. Phelps shutting him out of the picture, and finally, Gabi taking down the final one there. Gives the second round over to the hands of the Brazilians. And they'll take good strides here early on in the map.
And as you mentioned, NRG is known for that kind of, well, at least in the North American scene. If you're European watching, you might not know this, but these second and third rounds, we often see those force buys of armor, of upgraded pistols. NRG not too often investing in the armor portion of it, just seeing what they can get without that. Couple nades. Again, no deagle this time for Peter to drop Henny, but he's going to be on an SMG, try and build up some bonus money for the AWP moving forward.
And now they're just going to be hanging back here too with basically zero investment coming into this round. A couple smokes and whatnot. Focus is probably going to be on trying to overwhelm one of these sites and get the plant going for themselves. But Tempo Storm also very aggressively posted up, specifically in middle here. We can see Henny. He's going to be able to wrap around the corner, shutting down Silent. Looking for the second one here too against Legia, but Legia, he's able to surprise a bit there. Popping out, finds a trade to take down N1. And now Showtime. It's his time to party inside of Checkers here. Phelps as well, helping back out from middle still. Showtime spotted some of these players, but he's also boxed inside of Checkers. That's not going to matter though. Locust and Showtime shut things down, and they will get their third as we head into the probable first gun round here.
Pretty sick rounds from Tempo Storm, not taking too much damage in the second and third. So the small investment, a little bit of smokes, a little bit of upgraded pistols, doesn't do too much for NRG. And there it is, the AWP on Henny, the AWP on Peter. We'll see if this duel can come to fruition in this first gun round. Henny's going to be in mid, and he's here all alone. Smoke is going to allow him to look up towards boost, but no one's going to be there from NRG. Playing a little bit more passive, and this is kind of something we have seen out of them ever since Gabi took over, is a lot more defaults early on where they just kind of wait. They choose where to go later on, and there's a nice run boost. Way to go, Bolts.
Getting up to the shroud spot, but Peter just barely missing that shot as well. Back over by the white box. That's going to be able to keep N1 alive and in the picture for the time being, but he will fall back over to the A bomb site because of that.
Yeah, and this has also forced Tempo Storm away from mid control. They have no presence there. They're only watching mid from the A bomb site, so actually if NRG continues the pressure in that portion of the map, they could be able to execute some kind of a mid to B split. The interesting thing too is with Bolts boosted up, this normally allows Tempo Storm, the defenses, to rotate, you know, both players that are supporting him away from this site because he has such an advantage up here. Tempo Storm not doing that at the moment. Still 3 players in A with this boost.
Also keep in mind too, they do have Justin sitting inside of Squeaky now, sitting back and waiting, going to try to cause the distraction with the rest of NRG's players sitting outside of that A main area, getting ready to execute themselves, still biding their time. Decent a chunk of time is still left on the clock. But they will have to make this play soon, but for the time being, not really being able to catch anything from Tempo Storm. They're sitting back now after an aggressive opener, and they do not want to take any risks on losing some players early on in this gun round.
And there it is. The pressure was exerted. That's a nice jump peek. Henny takes the shot. Flash is going to come out. He's going to go for the re-peek, and Peter shoots a little bit early through the corner of the box. Meanwhile, though, he's kept the defense frozen at A. It is going to be a hit towards this B bomb site. Lucas, he's isolated. His teammate has come through the smoke. Pop Flash, he's not peeking with it. Still biding their time in NRG. They have to try and make progress here. There's one member down. Gabi finds that, and the UMP isn't enough. But Phelps coming out of vents. He's going to get 2, can't get the third.
Now bringing it into a 3-on-2 scenario, but Tempo Storm quickly rotating back over. Already having a player sitting up in heaven. They've got Henny there, ready to retake the site, but the smoke holding him back for so much longer. And Bolts, too, back down into team main. He's ready to move in. Some good damage connecting onto Legia. He's now down just at 62 HP. And at the same time, they're trying to fish for something to get them into this bomb site, but they're not finding it. And in a moment here, with the time getting low and them having really no utility left, they might have to give up this quest. However, Bolt's going to make one last attempt. That flashbang, though, hits at his teammate, and Silent's going to be able to take him down. So with that said, N1, he's going to have to give this quest up. He's running away, but Silent's on the chase. Won't be able to catch him as he does escape outside his Z. And it looks like he'll be able to save that, but this will now be the first round for NRG coming up on the board.
Yeah, still plenty of money left in the coffers, the Tempo Storm. So this could be another buy, especially with this op saved. This would be a really solid buy for the Tempo Storm side, but a nice round from NRG. And you could see, I mean, this is that leadership of Gabi. They take that in stages. Peter gets boosted up, takes one shot, doesn't overextend it, forces the defense back. That allows him to have mid control. Once again, Peter probes into the A bomb site, doesn't overcommit, but keeps them frozen at the A bomb site, keeps the rotations very, very far away from the sites, and eventually that D hit works out for NRG.
Tempo Storm going to upgrade themselves here to a double op setup. Not only N1 working with his, but Showtime also going to be picking one up here as well. So trying to add a little bit more power into the mix and see if this works better out against NRG's relatively slow take that we saw in that last round towards B.
And it is still going to be Henny with the op in middle. He's got to be careful though. He's a lot of pressure, a lot of Molotovs being thrown by the out here in mid. And still, this is that same default. Spread out, a little bit slow-paced early on before they choose where they want to probe from the NRG side.
And one still trying to catch anybody that might go for a peek back outside of the mid garage there. Not catching anyone yet, but in a moment, Peter is going to be going up on top of Boost, although I don't really think they're going to be able to catch each other just as of yet. Most of the attention is going to be back over here towards White Box. They've got Phelps waiting just behind that. And again, very passive really from both sides. You can see it's almost like there's a line drawn on the sand. Neither of these teams wants to move forward just as of yet. Henny trying to time that one shot, but not going to connect very early on here.
You can see though, Tempo Storm with two members here. They want to fight this. This is a big change, and that's a good shot from Legia. Swings out and finds Phelps. Henny shoots at the Molotov. Gonna fall back towards that A bomb site, so the defense is entirely split. Legia has a really, really good play being made right now. Coming up highway, this is gonna be a crutch towards the A bomb site. And Legia, he could cut off Henny right now. He could find an easy kill onto the Opper, and that would leave the A bomb site so susceptible.
Smoke starts to roll in, but for the time being, Legia just sitting back on highway and watching that. And Bolt's back over here in the quad corner, and one's there to support, but he finds two kills back to back, looking for a third, but he is going to lose his teammate. However, he's still fragging it, and he picks up Justin, looking for another one. They find him around the corner. Finally, he whiffs the shot. Silent's going to take him down, but he's kept this even. It's a 2-on-2. Silent's trying to remain aggressive to hold back the CTs from a retake, but they're still coming. They're starting to wrap themselves out from the truck angle now. They can't really toss that molly, and Gabi is blind as a bat. He can't see anything, but Silent in the back, he screws up that spray transfer, so he's only going to be able to grab one from that one. Lucas does trade it out, but he's so low. Gabi now the last one alive. He should be able to grab this, but that flashbang is going to be a perfect connection on Gabi. Now he's just looking for the opportunity, but Gabi snaps it, finishes off Lucas, and it's another one for the guys from NRG.
Yeah, really nice win, and Henny was a beast there, but he can't hold on long enough. 3 kills for him. They do eventually fall on a nice 2-on-2. Gabi almost getting caught off guard. Lucas found a gap in that smoke, actually. Had the first couple shots, but his HP was so low, he had to get that kill very, very quickly, and it just didn't happen. So nice round from NRG. 2 in a row for them, and this is going to force Tempo Storm onto just the pistols. So it's going to be a save out of them.
NRG already moving very quickly, though, to take advantage of this one. Gabi out of that mid-garage much faster this time around. You can see from Tempo Storm, specifically on that A-bomb site, trying to hold those close angles so they can at the very least find some trades there. But it's Justin with the first pickup, Gabi with the second. They try to get aggressive and squeaky, but it doesn't work out very well, and Justin will find the third. Not a whole lot coming out for Tempo Storm this round. They'll get another chance to do it with Lucas. Gets the Juan Dig on the Silent. But still, not a whole lot of ground being maintained here by the CTs.
And Tempo Storm is really going to have to figure out how they want to handle this into the next gun round, because it's been mid-control, essentially. These first 2 rounds that NRG has won, even here in this round, really attacking this mid-bomb site delayed into these rounds, taking it in stages, having a little bit of pressure exerted early on, and then kind of building off of that. The last round, the change from Tempo Storm was to pair up a rifle with Henny with the AWP, or not, yeah, with Henny with the AWP, and that didn't work out. Legia finds that opening kill. So you could see they kind of had that idea. The first round they played it very passively, then they wanted the challenge. Neither of those two are going to work. And now they're not going to have the double op set up as well, which would allow them to perhaps put 3 rifles in middle.
And both of these guys now just sitting back. For the time being, NRG actually has taken some pretty heavy losses on these previous ones, so the money's not really in a great spot for them. Not really going to be too tempted to move out and just hunt down that one extra AK, especially when you consider the Tempo Storm are going to be on the buy in the next round anyway. They're just going to sit back, make sure they keep themselves alive so they can build up that T-side economy a little bit.
Good stuff early on from NRG, and we've seen this map the way it's played out. I mean, going back towards the major, I know very, very T-sided affair on this map at the moment. It fell out of favor a little bit leading up to the major, and then we saw it played very, very much. And it seems like teams struggle a little bit on the CT sides at least.
Now we'll head into this next round here. They did manage to keep that AK into the next one. So Tempo Storm back up to a full buy. Bolt's a little bit low on the utility, but for most of these guys, it's not too much of an issue to worry about here. They have decided to get aggressive again. Specifically, Showtime has moved himself up to watch for an early boost play. Not going to be finding it. There's a lot of noise being made here by NRG early on as they try to find themselves out, and Gia literally lining up the perfect kill. He's going to get a very small amount of damage onto Showtime, and he gets a bit more too with a molly that's tossed in, but there's actually Showtime who falls back, grabs Gabi completely blind through the smoke, and gives them the edge here to start off this round.
Yeah, smart play from NRG. Unfortunate it doesn't work out. Gia lines up that spray into the vents through the smoke. Those bullets force him back into checkers where there's a Molotov waiting for him, but they can't punish it, and Showtime actually even just turns it around even more. So that's really, really sick. And this allows, I mean, now, even if NRG gets mid-control, they're still at a deficit in terms of their manpower. This does allow Tempo Storm to play a little bit more passively. Justin then over towards this door. Hasn't seen too much action here. And Peter's the next one up because Legia's been brought down towards 6, so you imagine this AWP has got to ring true if NRG wants to get back into this round.
See the gun switch there, just waiting for the peak. Not going to be able to find bolts as of yet, and now he'll retire further inside of that bomb site to keep himself safe. In the event, there's going to be more players trying to push themselves up highway, but Justin still can't find that opportunity to get himself outside of Squeak. He's been there this entire round. They've got to be running low on time by this point. Just above 35 seconds here for the guys on NRG to get themselves in, and they've made such little progress. They have this lined up, but now they need to execute, and finally, there's that opportunity that Justin was looking for to pick up a kill, and he's done so. But the A main execute needs to come in. The bomb's going to go down. We almost see a second kill coming out from Bolts, but Justin is going to finish that off, and now Peter just pushes through Z, takes down the truck player. That's Lucas, and as Showtime's the only one left, he is going to be able to get an opportunity to drop the bomb planter, and now very little time left on that clock. He should be able to grab the second kill, and he's going to be able to do it. And now only 9 seconds left here, and it's going to be a race from Peter. He has to run up and try to get this on the floor. It's in the safe plant spot, so we know he's actually just going to move out and try to hunt that kill, but Showtime's smarter than that. He's run away, and this round is going to be essentially tossed by the wayside. Tempo Storm will take it by the timer.
What a win from Showtime. A 1-on-3 and by the timer. And we talked about Peter and his ability to beat himself up and maybe throw himself off his own game, and that's going to be one of those rounds where he picks up the bomb, time to plant. The only option he had if he wanted to really try and win that. He takes the gamble thinking Showtime would be a little bit closer. This is just really well done. A guy who we talked about maybe struggled a little bit at the SEVO finals. Started up big early on in this match here.
And as well here, NRG just playing all together this time around. All 5 of their players grouped up. Was looking like a pretty solidified push back over towards the B bomb site, but they've since called it off and are now splitting their players up to try and see if they can find a couple picks earlier on in this round before they actually go into that site.
Very, very patient out of both teams. This time there's no presence over towards the A bomb site for NRG. They seemed they wanted to do a contact push towards the B bomb site, but they were forced away from it. The nade coming through the smoke kind of slows them down. They have far more utility at the moment than Tempo Storm does to utilize as this clock dwindles down. There's about just over a minute left, 1 minute and 5 seconds. Still 4 Molotovs, 4 smokes to use for the NRG side, for Gabi to kind of play with.
Justin again just jumping through to make sure he can get the options there, and Peter just barely survives that encounter against Showtime. He's dinked down to about 10 HP, so he's barely still alive in this one, but he is doing it, and Lucas has a bit of an angle to see through this smoke, so connects some damage, finds a first kill, looking for a second, and he survives it too. Henny pops out from heaven, finds another one on a silent. Peter's going to be able to trade that back out, but Phelps found another kill, and now they have the advantage here. Lucas is still in that bomb site, causing havoc with this Deagle. They're going to try to flash him out, but it doesn't really pay off, and also they just flash Peter, and Bolts dropping down from heaven, finds another pickup. It's all on Peter with 10 HP. No way he's pulling that off, and Lucas closes out this round with the Deagle.
Yeah, what a huge round from him as well. Getting a kill, but just staying alive on that bomb site, preventing NRG from progressing into the site. And even Henny makes a massive play. Knowing his teammates only got a Deagle, he takes the risk coming through the smoke on the upper platform and finding 1 kill. Gets picked off trying to fall back, but it just alleviates some of that pressure that allows Lucas to maintain his presence.
And now for NRG, they will be broken this time around. Gabi being able to go for an upgrade. A little bit more cash left for him, so we can get that bit of utility. But it is looking like the same thing we saw in the last round, at the beginning of it at least, where it's a full 5-man push back over towards the B-bomb site, and Tempo Storm are ready for it. You can see the post up now. Lucas and Showtime. This is going to be an absolute slaughter if NRG decide to go forward about this.
And they are. Smoke comes out. Molotov's going to come as well. But there's Showtime. With the advanced peak, there's also a bait and switch set up here. Lucas, it's going to be his turn. He's actually, he struggles a little bit with it, but he does get it in the end. Brought down towards 2, but no losses sustained by Tempo Storm and no progress made on that push from the NRG side.
So nothing really gained at all, unfortunately, that time by the T's. And that's going to be dangerous, too, because they have kept Tempo Storm in a pretty good position as far as their economy is concerned up until this point. But now it's gone back down, and they're going to get a chance to build up their own CT side economy. And they're taking a good lead back away from this, too. NRG going to be on another save here this time, just upgrading the pistols, as they're going to have to wait one more round before they can really afford the full buy once more.
So a chance here for Tempo Storm to not only extend the lead, but extend the amount of money they have to, take some losses later on and not have to be too worried about their economy falling apart, falling into shambles. They still haven't really solved the issue on the gun rounds of NRG, having superior mid control. That's a nice shot from Justin right out of the door. Barely takes any damage, actually takes no damage whatsoever. It's only Peter who's taken a little bit. And now with these Deagles, they can still play with the amount of time left. 1 minute and 15 seconds. They can look for some more picks. This is going to weaken out the defense, which has allowed Gabi to get into this position.
Gabi now trying to take control of Highway here, too. The problem, though, is that this is bringing a lot of attention from Tempo Storm back over to this bomb site. That's a nicely timed op shot that almost takes down Legia. Showtime finally picking up some kills. He grabs 2 back over outside his D. Henny finds a 3rd, switches over to the USP and finds another one. He's finally shut up by Peter. Peter will grab the plant, and this is going to be a big thing to gain on this round, considering what they've invested. But hold on now. He's found another kill. Showtime just rolls right in. He also picks up the op. No armor behind it, though, so if Lucas spots it first, Peter's essentially a dead man, and also a lot of free round being gained here. He spotted him, but he unpeaks. However, with the molly coming right into his face, Peter finds the final shot, and with a huge clutch, we'll see another round bounce back from NRG.
That is sick stuff. The opening by Justin. 2 kills, actually, on that opening, but then Peter finds that 1 kill. That's a little bit of the mistakes that we just talked about the previous game. I know Yanko touched on it on the desk, as playing those 2-on-1s, those 3-on-1s perfectly. And one player on the Tempo Storm side gets isolated with low HP and allows Peter, and he finds that kill very easily, and then he has time to reposition and pick up the AWP. So sick stuff. 4th round for NRG, and they've turned this around. Now look, as Tempo Storm was looking to build money off of that, and instead, they're out. They are depleted. If NRG wins this, it's going to be a very, very good half for them.
The good news is that we have seen some evolution in Tempo Storm. They've caught on. Just as I say that, we do see a bit of a mistake they made there. Phelps assumes that things are clear back over here by the mid garage, and he's going to pay the price from that one. A nice headshot comes out from Legia, shutting out Phelps.
Yeah, I think he just mistimed the smoke. I think it was fading a little bit, which allowed Legia. Oh yeah, I have seen him line that shot up through the smoke, and he was just waiting for it. So a small mistake, but instead Tempo Storm's going to get aggressive towards B, and they are going to find the equalizing kill. That's huge. Now Bolts can hear these footsteps over towards door. That's nothing new, though. Justin has been doing this for a number of rounds.
This has basically been his entire amount, and I was just pushing back out here, doing this in almost every single round.
Miss smoke.
What they don't know is that there's a big push about to work its way over here outside of A main. Bolt's trying to hold that back now with an HE grenade. A little bit early on that one, so it's not going to connect all that much damage, but it is holding them back for a little bit longer. And considering that just a few moments ago, we really had 3 players from Tempo Storm fully committed to the B bomb site, this has given them enough time to now rotate over. They've got a pretty good chance to hold this off, too, as NRG might even be having second thoughts, but nope, scratch that. They're going out on this bomb site with full force about them. Lucas finding the first kill. Bolts pops out, but he's not ready for it. Legia, Gabi find 2 more. Showtime will find a second pickup, so it's still even down to the 2v2, and then one's going to be able to rotate himself in. Won't be able to get a good angle here to shut down the planter. So we'll see Legia get that on the floor, but Peter as well stuck over here, and take a look at Showtime. Huge flank he's working for. Peter is going to be spotted first by Showtime, and now it falls to Legia. Finds the first kill, though, trying to hold this off. Will it be another clutch? The shot from N1 misses, and Legia going for the long haul back around the corner. He almost loses his life, but now look, he's getting aggressive, sneaking up. He's going to try to play this close quarters to N1, but N1 spots it, finds it around the bend, and the round control goes right back into the favor of Tempo Storm.
Nice win by Hen 1, not assuming that he's going to be all the way back hiding in quad. So good shot from him, and just barely manages to hold on to that. That was a very successful hit onto that A site. They keep it in a 2-on-2, and actually the crucial kill is that kill onto Peter. Clearing out forklift, that allows Henny to have so many different angles as he works on that retake, works in that 1-on-1. Such a difficult spot to clear out, but with the smoke, it's played perfectly. So Tempo Storm get back on the board, and they survive. They don't get reset. They don't get shattered economically. Another buy, though, here from NRG.
Going to be a little bit more limited on utility this time. You can see not a whole lot of Molotovs or HE grenades, mainly just the smokes and flashbangs, but that is what they've been using for the most part here. However, that's going to be a great shot, as you could already see there from N1. So good damage already going on to both Legia and Gabi very early on, bringing them down to about 28 and 34 HP. But Peter finds the first kill. Justin, though, switching out his gun as he tries to get a little bit closer, is not expecting that 2-man aggressive push inside of Squeaky, so he's going to lose his own life. And this round definitely not starting out the way that NRG had planned it to.
That was calculated. Justin gets baited into that kind of a play because he's been doing that every round, and he's never had any pressure put on him in that situation. And now Tempo Storm is just like, this is an important round. We've got a shotgun, we've got a FAMAS. Let's just go hunt that kill down. We know he's going to be feeling pretty comfortable, and they are able to upgrade a weapon as well. Silent gets caught off guard. Showtime at off angle, and there it is. Lucas The jumping shotgun gets one. Showtime just has to survive.
Hanging back out now. Legia gonna walk his way into the site, but hasn't even checked behind him too. He should grab the free kill. There you have it. Takes him down and even finds Scott B to close it out. Showtime so far with a very big game, and it does look like that we are going to be going into a timeout here as NRG needs some time to rethink things.
Yeah, and it's I mean, this is just saying they want to get maybe not that super confident in how dominant their CT side is. They want to get, you know, 1 or 2 more rounds on the board on this T side. I think it's important. They're stuck right now on 4, so this is going to be very, very important for them.
So we've seen that already, and that was a big change up there that we saw in this round. The good news is for Tempo Storm is that they are very quickly catching on to the patterns that NRG are throwing back in every round. One note, just in that last round too, we see Justin almost always going to Squeaky to distract and try and find an early kill if he can. Finally, they counter that up by having a 2-man aggressive push, and they even catch it too when he's like jumping, because he thinks he's been able to peek this for the past like 5 or 6 rounds with no repercussions whatsoever. Finally, there's 2 players up close, and he just doesn't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is also this is a very cool CT side from Tempo Storm. One of the benefits that Cash allows these CT sides is there's so many ways to get aggressive. It's almost like you can play the CT side like you're on the offense. And that's what these past 2 rounds have been for Tempo Storm. We saw him find an equalizing kill by pushing and getting aggressive over towards the B site, then that push in towards door. And NRG hasn't been ready for it. So 8-4 now out of the pause. Pause is not for this round. This is going to be a save. It's going to be on pistols. So the pause is for the next round, the round that NRG is going to be able to buy up the rifles. Lucas got to be careful. Runs out of bullets on the fallback, but he's got Showtime here to bail him out. Nice covering fire from Showtime.
And even as we see Phelps pushing up, caught out in the open there a little bit by Legia, but definitely has the arsenal advantage. Final 2 players are going to make an attempt to take control of the A-bomb site. However, they don't even have the bomb to work with to begin with here, so things will be very drastic to say the least. Hoping they can find at least 1 or 2 of these players from Tempo Storm out in the open to take something out of this round, and they almost find it in Peter's hands, but there we go. Gob B distracts a bit. They'll look to finish off this one player with a Glock, and they'll succeed in doing it, but then the touchdown grenade comes in from Phelps. It ends around for Tempo.
And this is where we see what kind of plan NRG came up with during that pause. What did Gabi call? Did they discuss anything? Do they go back to that mid control? Because it had success for them, and just recently, they haven't really had the tools needed to kind of exert that again. And even now, look at the utility, very, very light on it. So maybe that mid control might not be something they want to do because they don't have a lot of smokes. They don't have a lot of flashbangs to utilize. Could be a little bit scary for him.
Also, there's just been a consistent molly that goes up on boost every single round here too from Tempo. NRG would always go up and boost that like almost right at the beginning of the round, but they started doing this, and ever since then NRG shied away from it. Getting aggressive inside of A main this time though. A large amount of Tempo's players push in, and that's going to reward them with the first pickup on a Peter.
And this is the weakness of these spread out defaults round after round, every single round. It seems like Tempo Storm has caught onto that, because when you have this spread out default, oh, there's a nice battle. Dinked through the door, but he responds nicely. When you have these spread out defaults where you're looking for a push everywhere across the map, just exerting your control everywhere, it does thin you out. So there are opportunities for the CT sides to be the aggressors and find ways to have 2-on-1 battles like they just did to pick off Peter and A main.
And now Tempo Storm, speaking of their B site hold, it's very, very passive right now. It's Showtime way back on the site. Lucas tossing out that smoke. They know he's in this corner now, but they have him trapped, and actually they're going to give up the push for the time being. Starting to wrap back around over here towards mid instead, and Legia going to push out, but he doesn't check his left side. Would have had an easy kill on Phelps, but Phelps is just wreaking havoc now. He's picked up 2 of the 3 final kills. Finally, we'll see Silent pick him up, and the second one, but now he's in a 1v2. He just lost the bomb, so for a lot of free time going to be given to Tempo, and in a moment here too, you can see Showtime on the flank, so unless Silent moves very quickly to a bomb site, he may find a bullet in his back in just a second.
You can see, though, Showtime is playing this flank very, very patiently, knowing if he pushes up here, he leaves his teammate in a really awkward one-on-one where he has no intel. So now he waits to see if Silent was going to go back towards the B bomb. So when that doesn't happen, there's Lucas. Free kill. Silent thinks he's got an opening, and it's not there. And that is a situation where Phelps gets those 2 kills in mid with very low HP, but what's not going to show up on the scoreboard is he only gets those kills because Boltz is supporting him on that box. Boltz comes over just in time. He's the one taking all the fire. He's the one with all the attention on him, taking the aggro, and Phelps is just 2 very, very easy kills for him.
So Tempo Storm back into the double digits now, and with a very strong lead on their CD side here on Cash. NRG just piecing together whatever they could afford here in this final round of the half. Legia going for the SMG pickup, a couple more upgraded pistols for Peter, Justin, and Silent, and finally Gabi. He's able to get himself a Galil at the very least, but it's actually going to be a boost, a counter boost coming out from Phelps, and he's dropping right in, pulls out the knife, and there's a knife battle, but what the heck? Gabi takes down one of them, but somehow Phelps got that kill with a knife before he got taken down.
Only an NA. Awesome.
Alrighty then.
Cool knife. Still, NRG very spread out at the moment. 2 members towards the A site. Legia has found his way out mid. And 1 member at Silent over towards the B bomb site. Haven't really decided where to go just yet. Over a minute left on the round still. Boltz finding some information, but not committing to the fight. He's going to see one jump on the roof. There's a battle he can win. That was, I believe, the UMP that was down. So tough to win that battle against the M4.
And that'll get knocked out here now. So the final 3 players, they do get a lot of early control of middle here, but they keep revealing themselves to bolts. And 1v1s have not been the strong suit here for NRG, at least later on in this half. And there we go, just losing more and more of them. Showtime being able to drop Justin. They do get this good smoke in here, but Silent, there's no way he's holding this off. And finally, a single bullet will tap away to end it as Showtime picks up the final kill. It'll be an 11-4 half in the favor of Tempo Storm.
Showtime, we did call him out in the pregame show, talking about his Evo performance, and he apparently hurt us because he's a little bit upset at the moment. This is a sick first half out of him. I saw like just a very glimpse of the score. I think he's at like 26 kills, but if you want to check for sure, you can do that with the Score eSports application. You guys can get that from the Google Play Store or the App Store for your Apple devices. Check that out. Go see what Showtime's sitting at right now because it's something ridiculous. But he's had a monster half. And then on top of that, I mean, Henny's had some flashy rounds, but he's been a little bit quiet. That duel between him and Peter hasn't really come to fruition. Later on, I mean, it was a little early on with the mid control. Yeah, we need to see how this happened. Oh, it's the stream POV. That's a bummer, but that's ridiculous.
The fact that he still gets that knife kill while he's being sprayed at by another player is
22 kills for Showtime.
Leading by a very big margin. But we will go into the second half, guys, and NRG in a very, very delicate position right now. Dropping this pistol could essentially mean early GG for them, but if they can take it, this could also be a very swift comeback if they keep their pickups here consistent. One of the areas they do need to improve on, though, is their 1v1s. And it's going to start off now with Gabi trying to hold things as the only player here, finding one nice tap. The smoke finally comes in as CT main, allowing the rest of Tempo Storm's members to get control of the site.
That's the bomb that Gabi takes down there. So it takes a little bit longer for Henny to get in and get this plant down, which is allowed for the rotation. Now there's 4 members towards this B site, 2 in mid. There's only 1 a day, that's Silent, just making sure there's not going to be any kind of a fake. And how do they advance this retake from here? A little bit of damage is being dished out. Gabi is very low. Phelps, he's going to have a big role to play towards Vets. They look away at the wrong moment. He gets 1. He knows there's a second player. He gets both. Actually, it was bolts from the other side that got it, but it's been all Tempo Storm. The opening kill goes to NRG, but they hold off the retake.
And now with that in their pocket too, their lead is assured unless we see an upset coming in on the second round. However, considering the history from NRG, very rarely will we see that. But considering their current score, then they might just have no choice but to try and go for it here to bounce back into this game since they're going to be so far behind their opponents now.
As Bolts that got that second kill into Silent and Benson. No, they're not going to go for it this round. We might see a third round. Used to see it pretty frequently. The FAMASes, maybe some pistols here and there. But with the strength of the pistols lately, has kind of gone away from favor, but they might just be doing that. Phelps has very good control, and there's a boost into the A site. Justin has no idea what hit him. Silent now feeling very awkward.
Trying to peek out, but Phelps again decks him, shuts down Silent. The final 2 left alive from NRG too. Going to be easy pickings. That's just left to Gabi, and he too will be taken out pretty quickly there. High Tempo Storm, as they'll pick up yet another round. Not a whole lot coming back into the control of the guys on NRG. But as you were just mentioning, and in general, like we were mentioning too at the beginning of that first half, Gabi and the NRG guys are very big fans of these extremely unorthodox buys early on in the half. But still, no, not going to go for it. They're waiting. This is going to be a big risk because now they're going to put themselves 10 rounds behind Tempo Storm and only 2 away from Tempo Storm just winning the match outright. Yeah,
but you got to understand the thought process. You either save for the higher percentage win with the rifles, because not only do you have to win, but you have to go on a streak, right? If you force buy, and even if you get some upgraded weapons, you're still taking away all your money there, and you still have to kind of win 2 or 3 rounds with a little bit of depleted utility, maybe weaker weapons. If they go for this on the 4th round and they win it and keep some guns alive, then they can have some strong, healthy buys moving forward to try and get a streak going.
And in this round, Justin is going to be picking up the first kill with just the USP 2. However, it's starting to wrap around now. There's Henny with another one. Bolt finding 2 on his own from inside of Sundrum there, looking for a third. A little bit messy on the spray, but he does manage to close out that player. And Tempo Storm will put themselves up to 14 rounds here in the second half before we even see a single rifle coming into the hands of the CTs.
It's been tough for both North American teams against the Brazilians to start this event out. Start out DreamHack Austin. First event on U.S. soil, and the Brazilians are stealing all the thunder.
And now for NRG here too, already a lot of smokes, mollies, and whatever have you being tossed that over here towards middle to get control, and they're moving it away from that one too, starting to shift a lot of their attention closer towards middle in the event. This is going to be a vet stake, and actually perfect timing on that molly too. It holds Phelps away from doing that. Look, yeah, tap. He's going to find another pick up there, shutting out Phelps. And all of a sudden, this has held back Tempo Storm a little bit. They're being a lot more cautious, and they're going to try to hold away from this one. However, there's a good spray from Lucas. Just decks Lagia out in the open.
He got dunked by Justin as well, or dinked by Justin as well, so he's down to 2 HP. Still finds that kill to the smoke. That's a little bit of a bummer. Doors open. Silent will have heard that, so Justin's aware as he comes back up highway that it could be a little bit dangerous. Spam coming through, still Tempo Storm. They haven't decided where they want to go at the moment. They know with this one pick, though, it looks like they're realigning. There is one boosted up. That's going to be Henny with the AK. And because they have that one opening pick, it's the mid defense that gets weakened because the defense has to kind of spread out just a little bit more. All they can really do is play for a spot with Peter, and hopefully he doesn't overcommit, but he sees that and he gets the shot. That's a very nice shot to hit, and now he can go passive and not overextend.
Shutting out bolts in the final 3 from Tempo Storm. They're going to look for an execute closer over here to the A bomb site. Still seeing a lot of players from NRG shifting their weight closer towards B. As we can see them getting ready for a hit there, which puts a lot of pressure now over on the Silent to try and hold things in this fight. When the actual, oh my goodness, N1 just absolutely destroys Silent. Justin does find a trade onto that, and also finds a second one too as he takes out Lucas. So it was looking good for Tempo Storm to at the very least find a plant and maybe try to hold out their post plant, but nicely done from Justin at this truck angle. He has stopped that outright.
Yeah, but that shot on a Silent, that's such a sick read, and there's the communication you see in a team like Tempo Storm. I'll touch on that in a second. He's in this 1-on-3, he actually gets taken out. But that's Showtime in the door, hearing the footsteps, and just based on the timing of when the footsteps are showing, it's when he's landing after that jump. So he's saying, there's someone jump peeking, there's someone jump peeking. So Henny, he doesn't even have to worry about anything at quad, because if someone's jump peeking there, very unlikely there's a teammate in quad as well that has a better angle. And he just aims at the top of it, just has to time it perfectly, and it works out so nicely. Fortunately, they were a little bit beat up from some battles earlier on in the round, so they do eventually fall. NRG gets their 5th. But now we'll see. They waited till the 4th. They let Tempo Storm get to 14. Can they go on a run here?
Mollies are going to take a page out of what we saw from Tempo Storm back on this VTF2. Try to prevent this early mid control through boost. Mollying that off. They molly out the mid garage too. They're not going to let them get out here. And also, they're going to play fairly aggressively. God B almost getting hit with that molly. And it looks like they may try to boost up there to get a couple of extra players inside of middle. God B is going to walk right into the crosshairs of Phelps, however, as they already had that in full control of themselves. Phelps finds that kill. And look at him now, just creeping up. Gets a free one onto Legia. Already in a 5-on-3. Peter finally responding. Shuts down bolts inside of Checkers. But he's currently alone trying to hold off this entire site against all of Tempo Storm.
Yeah, they're going to slow play this from here. They have over a minute left on the clock. No reason to hurry things up. They want to start making NRG sweat it out. Now, because of the advanced position over towards A main, that allows one player to cheat. There's the jump shot to bait out the shot. Peter's got such a tall task. The Molotov might hold at least one back, but he's got to hit him. He gets one more. 3-on-2 now. The site is taken and silence the next one up. And that pretty much seals the deal. Justin knows it. Falls away, and they couldn't string them together. So their economy is going to get reset. And it's going to be a very broken buy in the next round. They're not going to have very much to utilize whatsoever. And Tempo Storm's going to essentially have 10 map points going on.
So Tempo Storm essentially all but secure at this map now at this point. Justin cannot afford to go into this next round without the AK. They need some sort of power to try and hold back the members of the T side, as they're going to take control of this one. And unfortunately, it's not getting the intel out quickly enough of where the B hit was going to be coming in from. So it's all left to Peter to try and hold that in. He can only pick up 2 kills there. And really never got the support that he needed to try and hang on for the rest of the round.
A little unfortunate, but a nice round from Tempo Storm. Henny's back on the AVP as well, and that's one tool that's going to have a huge advantage in the next one, because NRG, they're not going to have one of their own. Could be a little bit scary. If they do, actually, I think there's one player who might be able to afford it, but I think it would be Glass Cannon if they go for it. It would be very, very rough. Tempo Storm trying to find that last player. It's not going to happen. So now backs truly against the wall. 5-15, a long way to go, and they've got to start out this winning streak. They've got to start a comeback out with just pistols. A couple players are going to have rifles, but low on utility. It's going to be a difficult task here.
So as we can see from NRG, only rifles, no op coming into the picture this time, and a couple upgraded pistols as well on both Legia and Silent. They try to play it up aggressively. Legia against the wall outside of the mid garage. He's going to flash himself in, but it doesn't really connect. He only ends up getting himself hit there by the T, so he's dead meat. Lucas taking him down. We've got more players posted up in aggressive spots here. God B is going to be outside of Checkers, I should say, but both of them get destroyed too. Peter and Justin finally finding 2 for their own team, but they've got to do more. Peter, nicely done on the timing of that shot. Takes down bolts, and now it's into a 2-on-2. Showtime, though, we're going to try to shut off one of these remaining 2 CTs, but it fails. Justin finding Showtime, and now it's left to just N1 here to try and clutch this out. He has himself in an isolated scenario right now. Going to be able to get this bomb onto the floor with only a single flashbang, and he does not have a lot to hold back the retake itself. Now peeking out, trying to find this retake back over here from over on the highway angle, but still cannot catch the player peeking out from Shed. Going to try to alternate and check for the player moving in from truck angle. Catches him just as he fires off a shot too, and now it's in the 1v1. Got to play a little bit of ring around the rosy here to clutch it out, but it's going to be N1 that finds the 1v2, and there we go. Tempo Storm take control of their first match here at DreamHack Austin.
A really, really well put together performance by Tempo Storm on Cash. That was sick. And they responded really, really well to the opening T side of NRG. Was actually looked pretty good. It was that mid control, but once that got stopped, once the money ran out for the T side, there was no kind of answer, and NRG could never get back into it. They never really recovered from that. Showtime, he showed up.
Absolutely.
I mean, not to do the cheesy pun, but that was a very impressive game from him, and especially in that first half. 22 kills I think he ended on.
Big performance from him. N1 shows up as we normally expected there too. One of the biggest issues I noticed too after we saw NRG being denied mid control for so long is that unfortunately they were just never really able to win a lot of their opening 1v1s. So they would never get the man advantage right from the beginning of the round. They would never get map control because they could never find their opening entries. And that always just maintained the control for Tempo Storm for basically the entire half.
Yeah, that was a beastly performance. That was actually really, really cool to watch. I mean, eventually, it was just that T side not too much to talk about just because it was so short. It was a little bit of low econ situation. That CT side, eventually, it was when that switch came to the aggression for the Tempo Storm side, recognizing that it was constantly a default being against them, knowing that they could find those 1 or 2 players that were isolated on the extremities of the map, and they could push in towards A main, they could push in towards Squeaky Door, find that pick, and just play it from there.
All right, guys. Well, it does look like Smix is ready up on the stage for a post-game interview, so let's throw it over to her.
Thank you very much, Blue, and congratulations. We saw in the first match of the day your Brazilian brothers in Luminosity won their match 16-5, and you guys followed suit. It was a 16-5 victory for you guys. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, we had a pretty convincingly City side. We started struggling a little bit. They made the first 2 rounds. And then we started to read them pretty good. I think they did default, all the rounds, they did the same thing. So it was pretty easy for us to just adjust to their play. And yeah, we made a good City side, won the T-pistol, and managed to close the game pretty quickly.
And let's talk about that map in particular. In particular, actually, Showtime really showed up. And a lot of people were talking about how at CEVO, we saw Bolt really just rock it out. And people were, kind of talking about Showtime's lack of performance, but in this particular map, that did not show at all. So what do you think was that change for him?
Yeah, I think Showtime, I mean, people criticize him at CEVO because maybe he played 2 series kind of bad, but I know Showtime is a really great player, and he knew that he could do more in this tournament, so he was just really focused, and I think that's the reason why he came to this match really prepared, and as you can see, he's a really good player.
Well, how is your team doing in general? You guys have been so busy. I know that prior to Malmo, you guys were boot camping in Europe, and then after that, you guys were boot camping before CEVO. So what has that schedule been like, and how is that affecting the team in general?
Yeah, we've been practicing a lot. We boot camped for 9 days in Sweden, and then we played CEVO. Right after CEVO, we had 2 days off, so we didn't practice at all. We just relaxed a little bit because we were kind of tired because of all the travels. And then we came to this tournament relaxed, calm, and we are pretty much doing what we practice in Sweden and how we played in CEVO, and I think it's going to work.
All right then, and what are your team's expectations for this tournament overall? I know that some people are saying, because we do have all North American teams, maybe it'll be easier, but that being said, a lot of the NA teams are starting to step up, and of course you have your Luminosity brothers here as well, so what are your personal expectations?
Yeah, even though there are no European teams here, the North American teams are really good as well, and we have to take every match really serious, step by step. And of course, we're aiming to get to the finals, just like we did last week in CEVO. But step by step.
All right, 1 game at a time. Well, congratulations again. It has to feel good to start off DreamHack Zawi Open Austin with a win. Let's head back to the desk to hear them walk through this game.
Awesome stuff there from Smix and Peacemaker. Always got a big smile on his face when his team. Well, I mean, his team's just won, so I guess probably going to be some smiles. It's an interesting one to try and get our head around because, as you said, just closing out, Jason and Blue, you were saying that their T side from NRG was so short, we didn't actually get to see too much of it. We got to see a little bit of this reliance on Peter that you were addressed already.
Yeah, a little bit.
It wasn't quite as much as we anticipated. You came into this one expecting a lot more, perhaps, from NRG.
Well, there was a lot relying on him, right? As Peacemaker said, they didn't really change anything, right? So his opening, we saw him try to open at B, we saw him try to open at mid. His opening wasn't working, and they didn't really seem to have a backup plan. They were all relying on, hey, at door, maybe Justin can do something, or maybe something can happen on the side of the map, and it didn't happen. We didn't see much execute, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it did come to that reliance on Peter was actually there early on when he had the op. There were a couple times where he doesn't get the kills, but he forces the defense away from mid just by having the angle. And that mid control is kind of where you saw NRG able to get 2 or 3 rounds early on. But the big issue was, I mean, once he wasn't able to get anything towards A or B, once they eventually got stopped and he didn't have the AWP, they were a bit low on econ. They never really had a reliance from there, and then just Tempo Storm peeled them apart. Yeah,
it's one of those instances where you do just kind of sit there and say outclassed, outgunned.
I mean, he was doing a great job up on Boost, but the problem was obviously Tempo Storm just countered that up very quickly by mauling Boost at the beginning of every round, and we never saw him really try to re-peek up there, and there was never an area where Peter could actually peek out from, at which point he would be able to be more effective at that point forward. So I don't know what it was, but it seemed like the only area early on in the rounds that Peter could make an impact, and as soon as he started denying that, he became a non-factor almost.
Yeah, there's a couple crucial clutches too that both teams actually did. They went back and forth. NRG getting like really intense round, and Showtime, that 3v1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate with NRG, but if they win that round, it could have been a completely different match. I think they didn't recover from it.
Yeah, and I mean, that was kind of the big thing when this lineup was formed with NRG was kind of the one biggest criticism that I heard at the time was with Legia, with Gabi coming over, where would the firepower be? Because they're not necessarily known for being some like mass volume fraggers. And you kind of saw that when Justin is in the door, he doesn't have as many opportunities to get those opening kills for his team. When Peter's not having that success, and Silent as well didn't have a great game. I mean, all these guys were quiet, so it was just straight up, there's not enough fracking power to open rounds up for them.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like, you just mentioned it there, Peter on Boost, Justin on Door. There was quite a lot of kind of predictability to their T-side, would you not say?
Yeah, we mentioned it during the cast that it was and this is what we've seen out of Gabi across not just Cash, all maps. They set up on their T-sides in defaults, and they just kind of work from there, hoping on a pick from Peter and seeing what they get, and then building off that. But when you don't have success, it actually backfires, because then Tempo Storm's like, all right, you guys have the same setup every time. I'm going to start pushing A main, where it's only one guy here, and we'll just take him out and then fall back with an advantage.
Yeah, knife kills as well. Just all round.
That was weird. That was really weird.
Yeah, everyone was a little confused. But all round chaotic. NRG unable to pick up that win. I do feel like that's one of those games where there isn't too much to be said. I think the result and the frag speak for themselves.
Except Showtime proved me wrong. I'm really happy.
Yeah,
proved everyone. Oh, there's one other thing actually.
Go hit me.
First prediction on the analyst test. She gets it right. Blue. Been here plenty of times.
Yeah.
Goes down 0-1.
Who is this noob? Who is this guy?
We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the nice jacket now. I think it's only right that you do the same as Moses and get most of your predictions wrong.
Bailing him out? That's cute.
So that works. But this is the updated graphic, or at least it will be. There it is. You can see where Tempo are going to be sitting quite happily in that winners match. They'll be playing later on today. Up next, though, we're going to be seeing the boys from Cloud9 clash with CLG. Of course, Steph, you're no stranger to the CLG boys. Yeah,
CLG
she's rocking the bands. You are with us for that, right? So
No
we're going to
bias.
talk about that after the break, I
I
believe.
don't think so.
You're
I
not?
think
Okay,
I'm not
so-
going to be BAs and not going to be on this match.
Let's take advantage of having you here then. Give us a little preview to the viewers.
Take advantage of the bias.
Let's talk about CLG. I mean, let's be honest, you live across the street from them, right? Or at least they're close enough. You've got some maybe inside scoop on how they're feeling coming into this tournament / Cloud9.
Actually, I really think this is an important match for CLG and both C9. C9 coming up with a new roster, new players.
Sure.
We know very little about Slemmy and their international scene. And CLG has a lot to prove. They didn't do that great on Malmo, and they never beat. They were actually tied versus C9 this season. Yeah, tough group for CLG, I think.
Okay. Jason, I mean, this is going to be a debut for Slammy, and we're going to be talking about that after the break. I do want to remind you guys about an application, right? So there's this thing you can grab on your phone. Before we do head to a break, you can grab it. It's called the Score eSports application. You may not have heard it before. What you should do is you should go ahead and grab it. Yes, she's got it on her smartphone device, iOS, App Store, or Google Play, right? So all of them, all the bases covered. You go grab that. It gives you all the important juicy gossip, as well as stats and reviews and all of that good stuff. So you guys go check that out. We're going to take a break. We're back in, 15 minutes with the next game. It will be CLG versus Cloud9. Fantastic work from Tempo, making things look clinical as they wrapped up this game quickly. NRG have fallen to the lower bracket, and we'll be seeing how they perform later today. This has been DreamHack Zowie Open, and we'll see you soon.